Hey everyone, welcome to High Playing Games. Simon here with my thoughts, reviews and look at my choices for Life is Strange Before the Storm. Obviously, if you've not played the game and you're worried for spoilers, this will be spoilerific, so stop and come back to it once you've played it. Now, Life is Strange Before the Storm didn't impact me nearly as much as Life is Strange did, or actually The Adventures of Captain Spirit. I really liked that. I found Before the Storm to veer a bit more on like teen drama, and less around... For me, it made Chloe Price less relatable because I became her and felt like some of her choices. I was like, no, I wouldn't have chose either of those choices. And they made her out, I think, to be much more of a... They tried to make her much more of a rounded character, but in doing so, I think compromised where I thought her positions were. And the main kind of thread of the story for me was always around whether Chloe and Rachel were actually an item or not. And I didn't feel like they were. So when it's constantly put upon me to like, do we kiss, do we not kiss? I feel like the game was like, you should be kissing that girl. But I just didn't feel it as a romantic relationship. These were two friends who were so troubled by their own family issues. And daddy issues, essentially, through one way or another, that they had found a common support mechanism with each other, and it didn't need to go that far for me. The friendship and the quote-unquote blood bonds that they share because of the shit that they're going through should be enough to carry that as a budding duo. It didn't need the relationship aspect of it. That being said, though, let's dive into the choices and see how we get on. I also think I preferred Max as a main character, maybe because she was a bit more passive and I felt like I could portray myself more onto her, whereas with Chloe I was like, should I be me or should I be a dick like I think Chloe would be, even though I don't think Chloe means to be a dick. It's just she doesn't trust anyone anymore. So, with that aside, go through my choices. For episode 1, Awake, I did run away, I didn't attack, and that was because at that time, to me, I thought that Chloe was younger and therefore more vulnerable. So I thought, get away so that we don't end up in trouble afterwards. I find Joyce, the mother character, to be written in a really interesting way throughout both this and Life is Strange as well, because she clearly cares so much for her daughter and is trying to do the right thing, but she's damned if she does and she's damned if she doesn't because of the way how Chloe is written. So I feel like any chance that I get to be nice to Joyce, because she's just a mum trying to get the bills paid and find a little bit of love to continue on with her life, and I don't feel like we should begrudge her that, because fundamentally I've forgotten the guy's name that she picks. He's a twat, but he's a well-meaning twat. So Chloe should back down a wee bit on that. And I think if she backed down, she would be less of her own trouble. Defended Nathan, of course. He didn't need to be involved in all of that. And I know Nathan Prescott ends up being a complete and utter twit later on, but he hadn't developed into that yet. The minority. I told Rachel we're just friends. Sorry, love. As fabulous as those earrings are, just no. On the smaller things, I didn't take the money because I'm honest. I didn't purchase pot from Frank. Although I feel like that kind of became a bit of a moot point because later on you're just blatantly Frank is your dealer, so it just felt like a bit of an odd choice to have a big thing there. I read Joyce's self-help book. I did put the photo of William back on the dresser, and I think that's out of respect for before the boyfriend moves in. You should still be able to celebrate the fact that you've lived and loved someone, even if they're not there anymore. I didn't realise you could slip the money into Joyce's purse. That would have been a good thing to have done. I did tell Elliot I was going to go to the play with him, even though it never actually transpires as a thing. Of course I told Skip I liked his demo. And I did finish the tabletop game because that was interesting and fun. I thought I'd be nice to Victoria at the time. I told Rachel that falling in love was stupid, which kind of goes again. It goes for why I said we're just friends later on anyway. But of course we shared earbuds with Rachel because it's a musical moment. And we jumped out of the train, of course. So that was episode 1. Episode 2, Brave New World, I thought was very, very, very interesting because it's that kind of middle episode where everything's all been set up everywhere. I emptied my pockets in front of David because I wanted to show that I wasn't being a douche, and that actually would that gain me some trust. And I think it does when it comes back round full circle for episode 3. I stayed with Mikey and let Damon beat the poo out of our other chum, and that was because I was worried that actually it would cause Mikey problems later on. And it seems like actually when you go to episode 3 and your mates are in the hospital, when I was looking at the trophy guide to make sure that I got all of the optional pictures, they swapped places. So clearly I stopped Mikey from being put into hospital instead. So I thought that was good. In terms of the taking the blame stuff right at the very beginning, though, I wanted to show that I took the blame for Rachel because I didn't want her to have her life ruined, because I felt like that play and everything that was going on was the only thing keeping her sane. And I didn't want more of Arcadia Bay to be up in flames. And again, I'm not asking her for a kiss because we're friends. Tattoos are permanent and I'm not a fan of tattoos myself. So I didn't really go for that. So I felt like give her a bracelet. But to be fair, I didn't really want her to give me anything. Because it should have been a bond that should have carried stronger through that. There should have been an exchange of something so they look after each other. It shouldn't have been a giving, if that makes sense. I still intended to go to the play with Elliot, regardless of what was going on. I agreed to start over with David because I thought that it was a good chance for a fresh start. I did tell Steph that Rachel was single, and that is because we weren't dating, so strap it. And of course I didn't pay off my debt to pay Frank because I gave that money to the guys so that they could sort out and help out their dad, which comes around in episode 3 later on, so that's all good. I did tell Samantha to help Nathan, although I feel like that's kind of going to put Samantha in trouble in the meantime, so sorry Sam. And that's a bit poo. And yeah, I did give back Drew's money. That was his name. I'm surprised that I was in a minority though, because I feel like they had so much crap kicked out of them that they deserved their money back, and it was blatantly going to be lying and horrible, and that's not the kind of person I think Chloe should be. But maybe it's me reflecting myself on them. Who else did I do? Yeah, Rachel attacked James at dinner. Lol. Because I weren't going to get involved because that's not my place. That's not my family. They have that row. I'm a support role, not a rower. And of course, I discouraged Victoria from acting in the play so that we could get out there and do our own little bits and bobs. Then Hell is Empty. So the big thing here was that I didn't tell Rachel the truth. And I love the fact that this is a bang on nearly 50-50 split. Because it's another one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't scenarios. So I didn't tell Rachel the truth. And I think it's because knowing how her story ends up in Life is Strange, my worry was that in telling her the truth, I would then be the catalyst for her downward spiral to her death later on. Because, forgive me, it's been a while since I've played Life is Strange all the way through, but it still is never quite an open shut case as to how Rachel gets to be killed by the teacher kind of later on. And I always wondered if it was she's gone completely mad because she's still out to find her mum, and then he holds it against her and gives her clues, blah, 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 blah. So if we just say that she's now gone and disappeared, then she can kind of go, right, well, I wasn't wanted. She didn't stay around for me. Fuck it, I'll get on with my own life. But either way, all leads road to her being buried in the scrapyard anyway. And so I was in the majority where Rachel didn't meet her mother, which I found quite interesting, that was still a 75% 25-ish split. So three quarters went for no, yet we've still done a half-half anyway on the tell truth, not tell truth, which I thought was interesting. I didn't see the Firefighters Fund, so I couldn't give anything to it, but then seems like no one did, and we'd already given the money to Drew anyway. I sparred with Drew over pudding, and that is purely because I was after the trophy that came with that for taking the photo. Oh, for signing the cast, sorry, not taking the photo. You know what I mean, the graffiti. I accepted David's photograph because that was him making a gesture for a step forward. And for me, bridging the gap between David Joyce and ourselves was key. Even though that doesn't really pan out in Life is Strange, the story itself. Yeah, and that's kind of all of my choices. I'd be really interested to know exactly what you guys did. Please let me know in the comments down below. I'm super excited for Life is Strange 2, for a whole new premise to see exactly how my emotions get ruined with that one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
This channel is just one of my many projects that cover games, music and film. If you enjoy any of these and would consider supporting me to develop further in the future, you can do so by visiting patreon.com/Satorimon. Thank you for your time and for watching the video.